shit about the boots. Forgot to put my card in.
Getting to know them has been about all the meetings we've had separately over the last 4 weeks, and trying to pull everything together to make sure we prepare and deliver the right training facility, the right training programme, and make the right decisions all together to get a team on the field to hopefully win against Slovakia. We won't get it all right this first get together, but we're trying our best to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Well, I mean, I think that one game defined the whole disappointment of the nation. You know, one slip, one loss of confidence or whatever it might have been on the day made everybody feel that everything was so wrong in English football again that, you know, we've got to do dramatic changes about it. Personally, I don't see it that way. I look at the whole qualifying group, the whole squad of players leading up to the Euros, and actually going through that process without losing a game, in fact winning all their games, which gave us a lot of confidence. And even going into the Euros, it all became about defining moments, and those defining moments were determined that because we missed a few chances here that we shouldn't have done, and because we made a mistake here that cost us a goal, those were the defining moments that we have to cut out. So there's small defining moments that we have to change in our favour rather than go against us. And particularly, obviously, the Iceland game was, you know, 2 errors by ourselves rather than the opposition scoring the goals that warranted a goal. In other words, their ability was so good we couldn't defend against it at that moment. You have to accept that sometimes, but we certainly could have done better on the 2 goals, and it may have been a different story. So I'm not that depressed as everybody else. I was depressed on the day when we lost, like everybody else, but I still think there's a fantastic talent here to work with that's going to hopefully use that disappointment to become more resilient, more resounding, and hopefully in the end more successful.
I want to ask you about minutes.
Well, it's an easy question to answer. It's yes. You want the outfield players, never mind the goalie. You want all the players playing on a regular basis if you can, because you can make a better judgment then. And a player playing not so much is a more difficult task to select on whether that time out of his first team at his club will affect him playing in the international stage. So that's a big decision that you have to make, or certainly I have to make. Looks by this first squad coming through. So for me, that's a judgment call when we get together and we all come together. And when we pick the team eventually on the Sunday against Slovakia, I have to make that call then.
Yeah, and just lastly,
That might really affect him.
I suppose well, I think it does for every player. Every player in the England squad, not all of them are going to be playing on a regular basis now, which is probably not like what was 20 odd years ago when I played it. You know, every player that played in the England team then would be playing in the first team on a regular basis. That's not the case now with the growth of the Premier League and the fact that, you know, the Premier League has so many foreign players in it now because it's the best league in the world, has the biggest transfer fund in the world now, so it makes it more difficult for our England players to play on a more regular basis. So across the board there'll be some players that play on a regular basis, and there'll be some players that are selected that are not quite playing as often as you would like, and of course more importantly, hopefully, not too many injuries.
More of a chance.
Well, Vardy's played, hasn't he? I think that Drinkwater's played. I think anybody who's on top of the game across the Premier League will be playing in the Premier League at the highest level on a regular basis, and if they're on top of the form and they're as good as anything else in the country, then I've got to have a look at it and see whether we should select him or not. So I don't think it comes just in the top 5 in the Premier League. I think it comes across the board, and hopefully the more and more players that are English are playing the Premier League. That's my concern now as the international manager. I want more and more English players playing on a regular basis in the Premier League. The good thing is you know, quite a few youngsters have broken in. We're still a very young squad, which is great from my point of view. And hopefully more youngsters this year will actually break in. And some of the players who weren't involved in the Euros will actually break back into the England side, whether they've been injured or whether they haven't been selected. So there's a few of those that hopefully will put the picture in the frame, put their face in the frame to be selected in the future.
And for every England fan.
Yeah, you'll know early next week. The team will come together on Monday. The squad will come together on Monday. But once we've had a day or so with that squad, I will announce the captain before I have the press conference, probably before naming the team, and I think that we can get that out of the way, and then, you know, every other question is not who's going to be the captain.
Is it set in your mind, or do you think you know?
I'm not telling you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cheers, Sam.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.